Hey boys, welcome back to the channel where we are going to be reviewing, discussing day one or night one, morning one of the Rugby League World Cup 2022. We're going to go through the England v Samoa and Australia v Fiji matches. Talk a bit about it, what went right, what went wrong for either side. First off the bat, and I did watch most of this England-Samoa game live. It was, I gotta be honest, it was one of the most scuffed starts to a sporting event I have ever fucking witnessed. I turned it on and the power was apparently out. The performers couldn't, the singers, I don't know what the band was, but they couldn't do their song. He was running up and down the pitch. And I was mad as well because I'm like, are you serious, dude? Like, it's already late. Now it's going to take longer for the game to kick off. And then just in general, like, everything about it just seems so fucking amateurish. Like, then the broadcast went down for like 5 or so minutes. The other thing I gotta say, the England commentators are atrocious. Oh my god. Like, there's a lot of bad commentators, in Australia, Fox Sports, Channel 9, bad commentators that just comes with the business. But oh my word, the English commentators, they're really bad. But that's, let's not dwell too much. Hopefully the tournament warms up nicely and we see some good games. Gotta be honest, bit disappointing the first two games. One of these games, it was sort of to be expected. This first one, we'll finally get to talk about it. But this one was meant to promise a lot. England 60 points to 6 over Samoa. Now, I did say I watched most of it. I didn't see the last 30 points. I shut it off. I think when they were probably 30 to 6 up, 24 to 6 up, I was like, the game's done. Samoa have injuries, and it just wasn't. Honestly, the quality of the game just wasn't that good either. I mean, England were fantastic, but Samoa weren't that good. So I didn't see the onslaught at the end, but it's a funny one because it was. It's so weird because it was 24 to 6. I mean, it was 18 to 6 at halftime, and Samoa easily could have scored a second try just on the break. I mean, fair play. Their first try to Tunga was a bit arsey. It was just an intercept. Honestly, if the pass finds the outside, England probably go over. They could have been 18-0 up. It's always ifs and buts. But, Samoa had no footy. England had all the running in the first 20... Well, the whole game, really. But the first 20 minutes, they had all the football. Samoa didn't have any possession, any sort of quality footy whatsoever. Their defense was, pretty solid to start. I know it seems weird to sort of defend their defense when they conceded 60 points. That's what makes the game a bit strange. But their defense was pretty good. I thought England were a bit scrappy to start. And I mean, fair enough. It's the first game of the World Cup. Conditions also not the best. I mean, it seemed very slippery in both games, obviously. Very dewy, very slippery. So there were quite a few errors from both sides. But Samoa also with the injuries, and it's another one where I'm like, it just sort of came back to bite him. I mean, Hamlin Ueli going off in the opening, I think it was the opening 15-20 minutes. He did his calf, went off. It's a middle forward, and I really rate Hamlin Ueli, so it was a big loss in the middle there. And then obviously Fido went off close to half time, I think it was, and a suspected broken leg, or I think he's done his syndesmosis. I don't know. It's a pretty, not a great one. He's probably gone for the World Cup, which is a big shame. So he went off, which is massive. Honestly, losing a middle forward is bad, but losing a winger and a middle forward, that's really bad. And then everyone's favourite boy, Tyrone May, also goes off in the second half. So it threw that, you can't... they didn't really, and that's what the commentators didn't really talk on it at all. But losing a middle forward, losing 2 outside backs, it was always going to be a struggle. The possession, and it's not so much the possession. I mean, Samoa just kept gifting England the footy with so many errors, and it just mounted. And obviously at the end, the last from 64 minutes onwards, it was just an onslaught. So the game blew out. Was it fair enough that it did? Probably, but I don't know, it's a weird... Samoa were not good, but I don't think England were as good as the scoreline suggests, if that makes any sense. And not to take away from England, I did think they were very good. They looked fine-tuned, they looked in cohesion, the opposite of Samoa for sure. But I don't think they were as good. Like, they definitely were not 60 points to 6 good, in my opinion. Also, the sin bin to Anthony Milford just compounded the fatigue factor. So there was quite a few things that went against Samoa in this game, and not like decisions. I mean, that's... Oh my God, the other thing I gotta mention, how fucking long... why was the bunker taking so long? This first half went for so long. Like, it just crawled. It was like 20 minutes, like it was like 25 minutes, like, time had gone by, and like 11 minutes on the clock. I was losing it at how slow the game was. They got to speed. I don't know what was doing. They have to speed up the goddamn replays and bunker. I know they're trying to get the decisions right, but Jesus Christ, just speed it up a little bit, please, for the love of God. But let's go through sort of the nitty gritty here for the both teams. So we'll go through England. I mean, none of their players you could say were bad. I mean, they were excellent. Sam Tompkins, I thought was very good. He's always a dangerous player for sure. I think at another club, back in the day when he came to the Warriors, I think he could have excelled in the NRL if he went to another club. But the Warriors have always been a bit of a basket case, so it was a rough one. I think it was a bit of a rough one for Tompkins to go to the Warriors, his first stint in the NRL. But he's a good player for sure. Tommy Makerson and Dom Young were excellent. I mean, Dom Young, he was good he's been really good for the Knights in a shit Knights team, and in a team with some high level world class players. He did some really good things. This Makinson felt, obviously a lot of these English guys haven't really seen any of. Like, I don't watch Super League really at all. But he was really good, just strong carries from his own end. One of these bustling quick wingers, which, there was. I did see the highlights for a couple of their tries, and my God, they got away with some forward passes in that onslaught. That guy Makerson, he made a break. The pass back on, even the commentator called it a forward pass straight away. There was a couple of shockers not called in that back end, but the game was already done by that point. Callum Watkins was actually pretty solid. I mean, good God, he was fucking atrocious at the Titans, but again, a player playing in a world-class team, he looked pretty solid. Herbie Farnworth, oh man, I love Herbie Farnworth. What? So disappointing because as a Broncos fan, honestly, if Herbie Farnworth doesn't get injured back, whenever that happened, it was when the Broncos were going good. I'm not saying the Broncos would have continued to be a top 4 team, but I think if Farnworth doesn't get injured, Broncos make the top 8. Farnworth is so good. Like, I've said it before, but he reminds me so much of Joey Manu, and just his tackle breaking, his offloading, defensively really strong. Like, he shut down Crichton like all night. I mean, God, Panthers fans that are in love with their players, Farnworth just dominated him so well. It was great to see. Jack Wellesby, George Williams, really good halves combo. I'd heard that George Williams wasn't in great form after going back to the Super League, but he looked really good. It's still a massive loss for the Raiders because, honestly, Williams, he was excellent. He was so good coming out from England and playing in that Raiders team. Like, a really, really good player. And, there's Jack Wellesby, the young kid, also looked the goods for sure. It's going to be interesting when they progress into the later stages. Obviously, the pool stages, they're not going to face too much difficulty. But yeah, we'll see what happens when they come up against some actual opposition. But really good halves combo. The forward pack just as a whole, it wasn't that flashy or spectacular, but the big man just went forward. Tom Burgess, Chris Hill, big fella, Whitehead, McMeekin. Again, I haven't seen any of him, but he was solid enough. And then Victor Radley was excellent. McLaurin, I think it's McLaurin. I don't know. But, pretty solid out dummy half. Good defender, good service. That's all he has to do, really. And then their bench was pretty solid as well. Like Luke Thompson coming on. That Morgan Knowles was pretty good when he came on. Mike Cooper. So they had some good energy there. And then on the flip side, I mean, Joey Suoli'i. I mean, good God. Like, I'm going to say right now, he is not a fullback. I just don't see him becoming a fullback in the NRL. I would not be shocked if he goes to rugby union, but I just don't see him being a fullback in the NRL. He just doesn't have the ball playing skills and I just don't think he's a natural fullback. But my God, can he run the football? Wow. He had a couple of errors, but man, oh man, some of his runs were just... I don't know how many tackle breaks he finished with, but holy shit. He absolutely steamrolled the England defense, man. He can run. I mean, like, let's be real. I know the coach is copping a lot of the blame for the team and the coaching. I mean, the players just didn't turn up, if I'm honest. Like, from the get-go, like, they just... For an opening international game, you've just done your war dance. It just wasn't fiery. Like, the England forwards were over the top of the Samoan forward pack, which was really disappointing. I wanted to see some big collisions, some fire, some aggression. I just didn't see it from the Samoans at all. But, the coaching also... I don't know much, whatever. I don't know what they're doing with the coaching. Can you blame the coach? I don't know. But the team selection I do find very strange. I do think that they're in a rough spot because obviously, let's be real. Taylor May, Brian To'o should be the wingers. I think Fidow should have been the fullback and Suoli'i and Crichton in the centres. I think Suoli'i could turn into like one of the greatest centres in the game if he goes into there, or just stay on the wing and become the greatest winger in the game. But I think Fidow probably in the fullback spot would have been better. But I think the problem is that I suspect that they probably promised Suoli'i that they would give him the number 1 jersey if he pledged his allegiance to Samoa. Now, I don't know. They might have already said this, or they might have confirmed that that's not the case. But let's be real. He's not a fullback. And they would be better off with somebody else there. So, he had a good, like, I don't know. His game was okay. Like I said, his runs were just incredible, but just not a fullback. Like, you could do that in the centres or on the wing and have less to do at the back, just be used more in attack and stuff. So I don't know. I think that would have been a better team on paper. Jerome Luai, Anthony Milford just did not work as a combo. Everyone's fucking roasting Milford. I actually thought Milford was not too bad, dude. Like, I thought he was getting involved. I mean, he had a few errors in his game, but honestly, I thought his defense, I mean, again, like, they conceded 60 points, but I thought Milford one-on-one, like, he was coming up putting some decent shots on. Like, he was actually being fairly aggressive defensively, which I love to see. But yeah, I don't know, Luai and Milford they're just not a good halves pairing, let's be honest. Like, they play too similar. They're both off the cusp. They're both, heads up type players. So you just need a guy to steer the ship. It's just not a good halves pairing. And I know everyone's blaming Milford, but Luai was worse, like, if I'm being honest. The forward pack just as a whole was disappointing. I was expecting some big things from them. I thought the opening stands like Papali'i, Junior Polo were good. Jane Sewer I thought was pretty solid, but yeah, Hamlin Nuali going off injured was a big blow. Josh Alawai was... I didn't even really notice him. Like, I was expecting some aggression from these guys, but it just wasn't there. Danny Levi, he's getting bagged as well. I actually thought Levi was pretty okay. Again, his service and a few errors were not great. He did, miss tackle in that first opening try, but he took off with some nice runs and stuff. So I don't know. I thought Levi wasn't as bad as people are making him out to be, but he's probably not a dummy half to sort of, get Samoa beating the better teams, I guess, is the issue. And then on the bench, Tyrone May, obviously, nothing. Spencer Leniu, this also baffled me. Spencer didn't come on until the second half, and I didn't even notice him. Like, I switched it off sort of just, a bit after that point, but I didn't notice Leniu at all. Like, why was Leniu not used in the opening half? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. He's not playing at the Panthers. Like, you can use him a bit more. I don't understand. Marty DePau was pretty awful. I actually thought Kalma Tuolangi was pretty good when he went into the back row. I actually think he should probably start next game. He was probably arguably the best forward for Samoa. I thought he was pretty strong. But yeah, I don't know. I think Samoa's team could definitely be better if they switched a few things up. If things went a bit differently, they could have been in the contest. Milford getting sin-bin in the 60th minute didn't help, and then the onslaught that followed. But yeah, Samoa just didn't. The biggest disappointment, like I was hinting at, was just that they didn't look aggressive. Like, the lack of intensity, the lack of aggression was really disappointing in my opinion. So, yeah, overall, England with the good win. I actually can't believe I can't believe England were outsiders. I can't believe Samoa were favourites. Like I know you look at their team on paper and you're like, wow, they got the Panthers backline. I mean, it's without Cleary though, and Luai is not that good. You got Suoli at fullback. It's a good forward back, but again, you got Danny Levi at dummy half. So I don't understand why Samoa were favourites, because the England side, they're just, they've been together more often. Like, it's not like they play plenty of test matches together, but they're obviously going to be more attuned to the international stage. So, yeah, I was expecting England to win, if I'm being honest, but I wasn't expecting the 60-6 scoreline. So, yeah, I was going to do the Australian game, but this video's gone on a bit too long, so I'll do that in another video. So hopefully, you guys are going to enjoy the reviews, the discussions of these matches. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.